All right, so we all know roads, right? I mean, we drive on them every single day.
Every day.
But have you ever, actually stopped and thought about the massive machines they use to build them? Like, to get those roads nice and smooth?
The stuff you never really think about.
Exactly. And you guys send in this whole stack of stuff from RoleCatcher, all about becoming a road roller operator. And
Right.
honestly, I gotta say, I'm already surprised by some of this stuff.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it's way more interesting than I thought it would be.
It's funny, right? You think about it like, what does a road roller operator even do? You just drive in circles all day.
Right.
But it turns out it's way more involved than anyone gives it credit for.
Okay, so then let's start there, right? At the very beginning, what is it that a road roller operator actually does all day long?
Is it? So at the most basic level, you're basically using these really powerful machines to like compact different materials.
Okay.
We're talking soil, gravel, asphalt, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Anything that needs to be like rock solid to support roads or buildings or whatever you're building.
Okay, so you're compacting things down, but it can't be as easy as just like driving back and forth, can it?
Oh, trust me, there is like a real skill to it.
Really?
Oh, yeah. This isn't like your grandpa's steamroller.
Okay.
These are high-tech machines with all different types of rollers, like vibratory rollers for granular soils or pneumatic rollers that are specifically for asphalt.
Wow.
Each one is made for a specific material, and you got to get the density just right.
So there's like a science to picking the right roller for the job.
Oh, absolutely.
I had no idea.
And it's not even just about picking the right roller. I mean, these modern road rollers have GPS technology automated, controls all these crazy advanced safety features.
Oh, wow.
It's wild. It's honestly this blend of physical skill and technical know-how. It's almost like a dance between man and machine, you know?
A dance. See, now that's not a word I would have thought we'd be using today.
Uh-huh, right.
So, okay, you say road roller operator. I'm not thinking like, oh, that's a hot job to get, you know?
That's not really what you think about.
But that's actually not the case, right?
And that's actually what I think is so interesting about all this.
Okay.
Because the construction industry is booming right now, which means there is huge demand for skilled operators who know how to handle these really complicated machines. Like the Bureau of Labor Statistics actually says there are going to be more jobs opening up in this field
Wow.
because people need more roads, more buildings, all that. And that means they need people to operate the rollers.
So not only is it more high-tech than people realize, it's also a really good career path because it sounds like there's a lot of room to move up.
Exactly.
Okay, so what does that even look like, though? Because are you stuck behind the wheel of the same roller for, like, your entire career once you learn how to use it?
No, actually, so the stuff you send over from RoleCatcher, they have this whole career ladder they lay out for you.
Okay.
You start out entry level, then you move up to junior operator, and then eventually you could become a senior operator.
Oh.
And they actually have these little, like, hypothetical profiles they wrote out.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like these little mini bios of people, like, imagining someone in each stage and what they do.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really interesting.
Okay. I'm into it. So what does a senior operator do then? They've seen it all, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. By the time you're a senior operator, you're not just driving anymore. You're basically running the show.
Oh, wow.
You're overseeing entire projects, managing all the teams, troubleshooting any problems that come up, maybe even training the new guys who are just starting out.
Wow.
And on top of all that, you have to stay updated on all the latest technology and changes in the industry because things change so fast.
Yeah, that's a lot of responsibility, especially for someone that honestly most people probably wouldn't even notice on a construction site.
That's true.
But, I mean, that much responsibility has got to come with some pretty good perks, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The pay is definitely really good. And it seems like the jobs are pretty secure.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
No,
You're
right.
working long hours. It's physically demanding. You're outside in all kinds of weather all the time.
Yeah, no, I bet. And what about the noise? I mean, being around those giant machines all day long.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing.
It's got to be loud.
It definitely takes a certain kind of person to enjoy that kind of environment.
So someone who likes being outside, who likes doing physical work, and who's not too bothered by a little noise?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And obviously someone who's really big on safety.
Oh, yeah. I'd imagine with those huge machines, safety's got to be the #1 priority.
For sure.
Okay, so let's say someone's listening to us right now and they're thinking, huh, maybe this would be a good career for me.
Okay.
What does RoleCatcher say about actually getting a job doing this?
Well, that's actually what I think is so cool about RoleCatcher.
Okay.
It's not just like going on Indeed or whatever.
Right.
They have all these example interview questions specifically for people who want to be road roller operators.
Oh, wow.
Because think about it, you can't just like waltz into an interview and be like, Yeah, I like big machines.
Right.
You got to know what you're talking about.
So are they asking you to explain, like, the finer points of asphalt or something?
It's not quite that intense, but you definitely want to be prepared to talk about your experience,
Okay.
even if it's not directly related to road rollers.
Okay.
Like, have you ever operated any other kind of machinery?
Right.
Are you good with your hands? Do you know anything about mechanics?
Okay.
Even just talking about how you have a good work ethic and you're good at following directions.
Oh, interesting.
That's really important in this line of work.
Because you would think that it's construction, so it's just like show up and work hard.
You'd think so,
But
but
it sounds like there's more to it.
they're really big on professionalism.
Yeah.
Taking pride in your work, even if you are just driving a roller.
Interesting. Okay.
And get this, RoleCatcher actually says you should build a portfolio of your work.
A portfolio for road rolling.
Yeah.
What do you even put in that? Like pictures of all the roads you flattened?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, not just that, but photos of projects that you worked on, any certifications you have, even letters of recommendation from people you've worked with.
Wow.
They could talk about what a good worker you are.
Okay, so it's getting serious.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just like hop in and drive.
No, it's a real career.
That's wild. So they're really upping their game, it seems like.
Yeah, and that's actually something else I noticed.
What's that?
They really emphasize safety a lot.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're driving these huge machines.
Exactly. And you're often working really close to other people.
Yeah.
So you can't mess around.
Right.
One wrong move with something that big could be really bad.
Absolutely.
So RoleCatcher really stresses that, like, a good operator doesn't just know how to drive the machine.
Okay.
You also have to be really aware of your surroundings.
Right.
You need to be talking to the other people on your team, and you have to follow all the safety protocols really carefully.
So it's kind of like being a pilot then.
Exactly.
You're in control of this powerful machine, but you're also part of this bigger team, and everyone's relying on each other to stay safe.
I love that analogy. That's a really good way to put it.
Man, the more we talk about this, the more I realize I never even thought about all this stuff.
Right. It's a whole world.
It's like this hidden world of skill and precision that most of us just never see.
Totally. And we haven't even gotten into all the details.
What do you mean?
Like, did you know that different types of soil and different weather conditions can totally change how you have to operate the roller?
No. Tell me more about that.
Well, just think about it. Wet soil is going to compact differently than dry soil,
Right.
right?
Right.
And if you're on a hill, that's going to be totally different than driving on a flat surface.
So there's a lot of like thinking on your feet. You can't just like put it on autopilot and let it go.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
A good operator has to be able to, like, look at the situation, figure out what needs to be done, maybe even get a little creative to make sure the job gets done right.
Huh. That's
Yeah.
actually pretty amazing. You have to know what you're doing. You have to be able to adjust, and you have to understand like the science behind it almost.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's way more than just driving in circles.
That's so cool. And that's actually a perfect segue because RoleCatcher mentions how important it is to keep learning new things in this line of work.
Absolutely. It's crucial.
So it's not like you just learn it once and then you're good to go for the rest of your career.
Oh, no, not at all.
What kind of stuff do you have to keep learning about?
Well, for one thing, the technology is always changing.
No, right. The DPS and all that.
Exactly. Those GPS systems are getting more and more advanced every day.
Wow.
And there are all these new features coming out that can do things automatically or with way more accuracy than ever before.
So you really got to stay up to date or else you'll be left behind.
Exactly. And it's not even just the machines themselves.
Okay.
There are always new materials being developed.
Oh, that's true.
So you have to learn about all the new stuff.
Well, it's kind of like the tech industry,
A little bit.
but with giant machines.
Exactly. There are new techniques to learn new safety regulations, new best practices that are always changing.
So that's where all those industry conferences and stuff come in, right?
Yes,
I remember RoleCatcher mentioned those.
those are so important.
Okay.
You can meet other people in the industry.
Yeah.
You can share what, learn from the people who are the best at what they do.
Okay.
And a lot of times, you can even get certifications
Oh, wow.
that look really good on your resume
Yeah.
and can even help you get paid more.
Wow. So it's not even just about what you know, it's also about who you know.
Exactly. It's about building those connections
Okay.
because that can really help your career in the long run.
It's really interesting how that keeps coming up no matter what career path we're talking about.
It's
The
true.
importance of networking.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're building relationships
Yeah.
and showing people that you're serious about what you do.
Especially in a field like this, where it seems like it's only going to become more and more specialized
Exactly.
as the years go on.
And there are only going to be more jobs opening up.
Right.
So it's a good time to get into it.
That's a really interesting point, actually. Because it's not just about like finding someone who can operate a machine these days.
Right.
It's about finding someone who wants to make it a career, who's
Exactly.
going to stick around and really learn everything there is to know.
Yep. And, that's something else that really stood out to me when I was reading the RoleCatcher stuff.
What was that?
They actually talk about work-life balance a lot,
Really?
which you don't always think about in the construction industry.
Yeah, that's not exactly what comes to mind when you think about construction workers.
For sure.
Yeah.
But they really emphasize that it's important for operators to talk to their bosses about their schedules,
Oh,
making sure that people have enough time off and they're not getting overworked.
well, I mean, that makes sense. A well-rested worker is going to be safer and more productive anyway.
Exactly. And it all ties back into what we were saying before about how the industry is changing. Well, as the work gets more specialized and the technology gets more complicated, it's more important than ever to find good people.
And to keep them happy.
Exactly. So it's
Yeah.
not just about filling a spot anymore.
It's about making sure that people feel valued and respected.
Yes. And that they have the opportunity to move up in the company.
Wow. So it's not just about the roads, it's about the people.
It really is. And it's about recognizing that even a job that seems simple on the surface
Hmm.
can actually be really complicated and rewarding.
Man, I love that. And that's what this whole show is all about.
Absolutely.
Finding the hidden depths in every job.
Exactly.
But we're not done yet, are we?
Oh, we're not even close. There's still so much more to talk about.
All right, then. Let's get back into it. What else does RoleCatcher have for us? So we've talked about the skills you need and the safety stuff and how your career can grow and even like the work-life balance thing.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that really blew my mind reading through all this stuff from RoleCatcher is how much actually goes into a job that like most of us just totally take for granted.
Totally. It's like invisible until it's not there, right?
Exactly.
Like you don't think about the fact that someone had to grade the ground perfectly before they built your house on it,
Right.
or that someone had to make sure the asphalt on the highway was totally smooth.
You just assume it's always going to be there.
Exactly.
So, okay, let's say someone's out there listening and they see like a construction site or whatever, and they're like, huh, that actually looks kind of cool.
Okay.
What would you say makes someone a great road roller operator? Not just a good one, but like someone who's at the top of their game.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Huh.
I think based on everything we've talked about today, it's this mix of precision and adaptability
Okay,
because you need incredible precision every time you drive that roller over the ground.
right.
But at the same time, things are always changing.
Right, like the weather.
The soil could be different,
Mhm.
the weather for sure. Even the project itself could throw some surprises your way.
Yeah, it's true.
So you have to be able to think on your feet.
It's kind of like you're a problem solver, but your tools are these giant machines.
Exactly.
So cool.
So yeah, a great operator is someone who can just roll with the punches and figure out how to get the job done no matter what.
And stay safe while they're doing it?
Of course. Safety always comes first.
Always. Okay, so that's what makes a great operator, but there's more to it than that, right?
What do you mean?
Well, RoleCatcher was talking about how, like, this career path, it's about more than just the job itself.
Oh yeah, totally. One thing they talked about that I thought was really cool was the sense of community you get in this line of work.
Really?
Yeah, you're part of a team, you're all working towards the same goal,
Yeah,
and there's just this feeling of camaraderie you don't get in a lot of other jobs.
that's awesome. And it's not just the people you work with every day, right?
Right. It's also about like the industry organizations, the conferences, all that.
Yeah, like a bigger community.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about connecting with people who really understand what you do.
And what it's like to drive those machines all day.
Yeah. And you can share your knowledge with each other. You can mentor the people who are just starting out.
Yeah.
You can even help shape the future of the whole industry.
Wow, that's really cool. So it's like you're not just building roads, you're building a whole career,
Yeah.
a network, a legacy.
I love that. And honestly, I think that's something that anyone can appreciate no matter what they do.
Totally. So, okay, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of road roller operators, what's like the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
I think the biggest takeaway for me is just don't underestimate the skill and the dedication it takes to do the jobs that most of us never even think about.
That's such a good
Like
point.
that smooth road you're driving on. Someone worked really hard to make that happen.
That's true.
And a lot of times it was a road roller operator.
Yeah. Big shout out to all the road roller operators out there.
Yes.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive, honestly. I have a whole new level of respect for the people who keep our world moving.
Me too. It just goes to show you every job has its own hidden world.
And there's always more to learn. Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap it up here for today.
Sounds good.
This has been The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive into something awesome.